Hello and welcome to Learning to Color Hair How I Do. Everybody colors hair differently. This is just the way that I do it. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select where we want to color with the freehand selection tool. We're going to keep the color fill on, and color fill means that once you connect the lines selected, it will automatically fill. Here's a tip. On Procreate, while using this tool, if you mess up, tapping with 2 fingers will go back a step, and tapping with 3 fingers will bring the line back. Once the hair is filled in, we're going to go into the layers. Open a new layer just above the hair. Apply clipping mask from that layer onto the layer with the hair color on it. Combine down to create a folder. Now we're going to open up 2 more layers in that folder above the hair. The middle layer is going to be put on multiply, and the opacity will be turned down, and we can adjust this as we go if it's too dark or too light. The top layer is going to be put on add. I'll explain what these two things do as we go. I start on the bottom layer, which is the one closest to the hair, and it should be on normal. With a shade darker than the base hair, I color in the bottom half of the hair. Then with a lighter color, I go in at the top of the hair to create a line of highlight across the top of the head. Now we're going to use this tool here. This is the blending tool. I always use this soft blending brush for blending. It's made by Muzeni Art. It's part of my favorite brush set that I use for everything, my general coloring and shading, etc. You'll always see me using one of the brushes from this set. They're a little bit pricey, but it is worth it. So yeah, with this brush, we're going to blend out the colors into each other. The reason that I like this brush so much is because it blends into a soft line, not into like an airbrush, so it still has texture. After that, we're going to go into our layers, and we're going to go to the middle layer, which is our multiply layer. We're going to use a color that's a little bit darker. I like this purpley, dark purple color because I just find that it suits almost everything that I draw. Multiply is used to create a natural and even darkness over each shade that is in the base color. I also make my line work on multiply as well because it just creates like an even distribution of each of the colors around the line work. I can do another video explaining that at some point. Moving on to our last layer, this one is going to be our add. So we're going to use a lighter color, and we're going to create highlight lines through random parts of the hair. I don't really have any kind of like rhyme or reason for where I put the lines. I just put them where I think it will look good. So add is used like the opposite of the multiply, where it creates an even lightness over each shade. It even creates sort of a glow. You can adjust the opacity as needed. If it looks like it's too bright, you can turn the opacity down. And finally, this last step is completely optional, but sometimes, not always, but sometimes I will go in with just my regular brush and I will create little swoops of hair just to add a little bit extra detailing. This is something a lot of people do. It's not something I usually do, mostly because I'm too lazy or I forget. But it does add a little nice detail. So there you have it. That is how I color hair. It's pretty simple in my opinion. Feel free to take all of this information, do it exactly how I did, or change it up to however you're comfortable doing it. And in the next video, I'm going to teach how I color skin, but I'm learning every day and I'm always coming up with new ways of coloring and drawing. So I could look at this a week from now and be like, I don't do things like that anymore. So we'll see. Feel free to also check out my webcomics. I write Boys Like Boys, The Zodiac Cult, Sour Candy, My Brother's Sire, My Neighbor the Dirtbag, and I have a bunch of other projects coming up in the future. You can read them for free on To Pass, or you can read ahead, get a whole bunch of other stuff, a whole bunch of NSFW artwork, and just a ton of stuff on patreon.com/witchplanet. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped, and goodbye.